Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're doing great, doing awesome in this lovely morning today. Greetings for everybody who's planning to study pronunciation of English language. Today we're going to continue chapter 1 of Better English Pronunciation. It's one of the good books by J.D. O'Connor. The author talks about the basics of pronunciation. Keep in mind one thing, that there's been so many advances in the field of phonetics and phonology since the publication of this book in the 80s and the other editions that came later in the 90s. We stopped at letters and sounds. There is one thing that I want to highlight as well, and that is when I'm saying the words, I'm pronouncing the R. But in the transcription of this book, they're avoiding saying the R because they are following a model of pronunciation that is a little bit different from my pronunciation here. However, it wouldn't spoil the whole broth if we both say it or don't say it, since the whole sentences and the whole words are going to make sense as well. So letters and sounds, jumping to that part, these must never be mixed up. ما المفروض أن نمزج بيناتهم أو نخلط بيناتهم. Letters are written and sounds are spoken. It is very useful to have written letters to remind us of corresponding sounds, but this is all they do. They cannot make us pronounce sounds which we do already know. They simply remind us. And then هذه هي مجرد reminders. مذكرات بطريقة لفظ الصوت، لكن لا راح يساعدنا في لفظ الصوت. بالمناسبة هذه فقط المقدمة مال هذا الفصل، لأنه الفصل بالفصل الثاني اللي هو أهم، يحكي على anatomy of vocal cords، يحكي على anatomy of larynx، يحكي على طريقة articulation الخاصة ببعض الأصوات. They simply remind us in ordinary English spelling, it is not always easy to know what sounds the letters stand for. For example, in the words city, busy, women, pretty, village, the letters I, Y, U, and O, and A all stand for the same vowel sound. The one which occurs in sit, so busy, women, pretty, and village, all are pronounced with the same sound in the word sit. And in banana, bather, man, and many, the letter A stands here for 5 different vowel sounds. In a book which is dealing with the pronunciation, this is inconvenient. يعني هذا ما بيه نسقية، ما بيه نمط واضح، فبالتالي راح يسبب لنا بعض الإشكال. هذه مجرد ملاحظات حقيقة مقدمة للكتاب، فبالتالي أهميتها ما راح تكون في ناحية أخذك للاختبارات أو فهمك للكونسبت العام، لكن راح تنطيك introduction مثل trivia introduction للمادة، بحيث أنه تخليك حابها للمادة بطريقة أفضل. نيجي هنا. Most of the letters will be perfectly familiar to you بهذا الكتاب. Others will seem strange for a little while. بعض من عدها ممكن راح يكون غريب لبعض أو لبرهة من الوقت. But not for long. هنا هسه نجي peer, beer, tear, dear, gear. هذه consonants اللي احنا بدنا نلفظها. base, base, bathe, beige, bake, fear, veer, sheer, hear, leer, wrath, wrong, rear, mere, near, weir, year, cheer, jeer. نقطة فقط أركز عليه اللي هي كلمة wrong, 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 wrong. This is not wrong, and this is not run. It's wrong, something in the middle. So just keep practicing with this sound to the point that you make it perfect. Now we move to the vowel sounds here. We have feel, feel, fill, fell, fill, fell, fill, fell, fall, full, full, fool, fool, fail, fail, foul, foul, owl, foul, 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 file, file, foul, foul, foil, foil, cat, cat, cat. هذا الصوت ما عندنا باللغة العربية بصورة واضحة أو مشابهة 100%، فلذلك يحتاج شوية نركز عليه. cat, 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 cot, 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 cut, cut, curt, curt, cur. In British English, they say curt. In American English, they say curt. Both of them are exactly two independent but similar models to pronounce the words. Both of them are correct. Cart, cart. هذا مو cat. لاحظ. Cart, cart. Tear, tear, or tear, tear in British English. Tear, 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 or tear, tear, tear. Tour, or tour, tour, or tour in British English. And banana, banana, banana. Now, when it comes to the extension of the vowel sounds, the use of the colon, 2 dots here, with the vowels e, u, and is to show that they are in general longer than e and u. In this case, يعني من نخلي هاي النقاط دلالة على أنه هذا الصوت راح يكون أطول. Here are some examples of words written in this way. For example, city, busy, women, banana, banana, bather, bather, man, many, wrong, wrong, change, change, house, house, thought, could, cough, cough. He's coughing. Rough. Though, 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 though. لاحظ نقطة مهمة جدا أنه أنا دا أشدد اللفظ على هذه الكلمات. بالاسترسال في الكلام التجديد راح يقل بسبب ديمومة الكلام ووجود عناصر أخرى ضمن الجملة. يعني مثلا من أتحدث على كلمة thought, I say thought, but in a sentence I say I thought of you, I thought of you. So the word is relatively shorter in pronouncing that word within a structure of a sentence, but it's a little bit longer and emphasized more when it's enunciated independently. من نجي نتحدث عن sounds and sound groups. يعني هذه نقطة مهمة واحد لازم ينتبه لها. Sound and sound groups. A sound is made by definite movement of the organs of speech. الصوت ينتج من خلال أعضاء محددة لللفظ. And if those movements are exactly repeated, the results will always be the same sound. إذا تم تكرار هذه الأصوات فإن المخرج الصوتي نفسه راح ينتج وبالتالي الصوت راح ينتج. It's easy to show that there are more than 44 sounds in English. it's easy to show that there are more than 44 sounds in English. هناك أكثر من 44 صوت في اللغة الإنجليزية، مو حرف وإنما صوت. Even in the pronunciation of a single person, without worrying about differences between people. For instance, if you say T and two, you will notice that the lips are in a rather flat shape for T, T. So T and two, they are different. And this is true for both consonants T and the sound vowels. So the organs of speech are not making exactly the same movement for T and two. النقطة اللي دا يذكرها هنا أنه أنت صحيح دا تلفظ صوت T، بس مرات تلفظها بطريقة أنه lips are flat، الشفاه مسطحة T، ومرات نلفظها تو. ليش؟ لأن هذا يصير اندماج ويا صوت الساكن العلة اللي بعده، فإذا قلت أو فلازم تي يتغير شكل اللبس مالته. فهذا التشكيل الصوتي للأصوات نفس الصوت لكن لفظه مختلف بسبب تأثره بالبيئة المحيطية مالته السابقة واللاحقة، من ناحية وجود صوت consonant أو وجود صوت vowel here. And therefore resulting sounds are not exactly the same. You can prove this to yourself by saying the consonant sounds of these words. Think of the word T pronounced at the beginning of it, but not the vowel. Then do the same for two. Think of the word, but it's still before the vowel. You can hear and feel that the two consonants are different. يعني أنت تحس أنه هذا الصوتين ساكنات مختلفات. Obviously, most of the movements we make when pronouncing these two sounds are the same, and they therefore sound alike but not identical. مشابهات ولكن ليس متطابقات. Take another example here. The sound H or hatch in some accents. When we pronounce the words he and hat, he and hat, he and hat, who he and hat, who hat, who hat. You see, the pronouncing H sound, we put our mouth into the positions needed for the following vowel. لأنه التركيبة هو مو فقط اعتمادا على صوت الساكن ولكن اعتمادا أيضا على صوت العلة اللي موجود. بنتحدث عن أصوات العلة. هو أصوات العلة كلها هو عبارة عن شكل الصوت الخارج من الرئة. باختصار, each of the letters we use to show pronunciation may stand for more than one sound, but each of the sounds represented by one letter has a great deal of similarity to the sounds represented by the same letters or the same letter. They have more similarities than differences. يعني تشابههم هو أكثر من اختلافهم إذا كانت الموضوع يتعلق بلفظ الصوت ضمن إطار الكلمة. هذا بالحقيقة هي مقدمات بسيطة لمجال دراسة علم الصوت تحديدا. الشرح اللي موجود بهذا الفصل هو فقط مقدمة لتسهيل عملية فهمك للموضوع الخاص بعلم الصوتيات هذا تحديدا. نجي نتحدث عن هنا دا يقول تحدثنا على صوت H أو H. This suggests two stages in the learning of pronunciation. هنا دا يقول احنا نقترح أو هذا يقترح مرحلتين من تعلمك للصوت. First is to be able to produce 44 vowels and consonants. المرحلة الأولى أنه أنت تتمكن من إنتاج 44 صوت ساكن وعلة which are different so that the words on the longer utterances of English do not at any rate sound the same. لدرجة أنه أنت تتمكن من قول هذه الكلمات بطريقة مختلفة so that feel and fill sound different. لدرجة أنه هذه الصوتين يعني يبينوا المختلفات. At this stage the learner will not worry about which of the possible H sounds he is using. لدرجة أنه ما راح يهتم على أنه أي واحد من أصوات H هنا يستخدم. And of them will serve to distinguish heat from eat if the common features of each phoneme is represented. هنا الفونيم هو المقطع اللي موجود اللي هو أصغر وحدة تمكننا أو تحمل دالة معنى. يعني مثلا كلمة go، هذا الفونيم هو يحمل معنى. All the necessary distinctions of words, each can be made. But obviously, if the learner uses a particular sound in a word, when an English speaker uses a different sound, where an English speaker uses a different sound belonging to the same phoneme, the effect will be odd. هنا إذا native speaker هو مقياس الكفاءة، إذا كان ينتج صوت غير الصوت اللي أنت تنتجه بهذه الكلمة، فهنا راح يصير أكو فد distinction، وممكن يصير عندك misunderstanding للشخص المقابل. The second stage is learning pronunciation must be to learn to use as many different sounds as is necessary to represent a particular phoneme. أنه نستخدم أكثر عدد من الأصوات لإنتاج phoneme معين. A single phoneme is represented by a different sound in every different position in which it occurs. But most of these differences will be made automatically by the learners without instructions. It is only in cases where this is unlikely to happen that it will be necessary to worry about particular sound within a phoneme. النقطة اللي لازم ننتبه عليها هنا انه فقط في حالة انه احنا انتجنا صوت هو مو نفس الصوت اللي موجود بهذا الفونيم اللي راح يسبب misunderstanding. احنا بنتحدث على فونيم. الفونيم هو اصغر وحدة صوتية موجودة على اساس الاحرف او على اساس الصوتيات الخاصة باللغة، مثلا ب ب ت د ك ج ف ف، هذه تعتبر فونيمات صوتية لان هذا اصغر وحدة، ما اقدر الفظ جزء اصغر من هذا الجزء في اللغة الانجليزية. So there is one other relation between sound and phoneme which is likely to give trouble. Here is an example in English. De and the are different phonemes. In Spanish there are sounds which are similar to those used in English to represent the phonemes. We can write them de and the, but in Spanish these two sounds belong to the same phoneme. فهنا احنا عندنا the والد في اللغة الإسبانية يلفظون بطريقة، لاحظ احنا باللغة العربية ما عندنا هذه المشكلة تحديدا، فما راح يواجهنا ذاك الإشكال الكبير. But in Spanish these two sounds belong to the same phoneme. When the phoneme occurs between vowels, it is represented by the, as in nada, nothing, but when it occurs in initial position, it is represented by da, as in dos, which means two dos. This will cause difficulty for Spanish speakers because although he has more or less the same sounds as in English, he is not able to produce them independently. ما عنده إمكانية يلفظهم بطريقة سهلة. لكن هذا بالنسبة للمبتدئين في اللغة، مو المستوى المتقدم. نجي على words and utterances. هنا words هي الكلمات و utterances هي المنطق ضمن الجملة أو ضمن النص الخطابي. Most of what I have said so far has been about the pronunciation of short pieces of speech. كل اللي تحدثنا به هو بخصوص short pieces of speech، مقطوعات قصيرة من الخطاب. Sounds or single words. It is necessary at first to be sure that the basic sounds of language are being properly pronounced, and the best way of doing this is to practice single words or very short phrases. بالبداية حتى تحسن اللفظ مالتك الصوتي، لأن هذا هو تدريب للصوت، أنه لازم تتمكن من لفظ هذه الكلمات القصيرة شيئا فشيئا للوصول إلى النقطة أنه أنت تبدي تتحدث utterances. And the best way of doing this or that is to practice single words or very short phrases. But we do not talk in single words and certainly not in single sounds. احنا نتحدث utterances مو فقط بكلمات قصيرة. The sounds and words are connected together with others to make up longer utterances. And these longer utterances have special difficulties of their own اللي يكون بها عادة المنطوق الطويل خاصة في الجمل يكون ب تشعبات أكثر، يكون بصعوبة أكثر. First, they must be pronounced smoothly without hesitation. بالبداية راح يكون التدريب عن طريق لفظهم بطريقة سلسة وبسيطة. ثم without stumbling over the combinations of sound. It may be quite easy to pronounce separately the words library, been, lately, you, to, there, and have, but it is much more difficult to pronounce the questions, have you been to the library lately, without hesitating and without making mistakes. Secondly, in longer English sentences or في المنطوق الصوتي الطويل, some of the words are treated as being more important to the meaning than others. هنا دا أعرج لك على موضوع intonation و stress داخل الجملة. And it is necessary to know which these words are and how they are treated in speech. راح نتحدث في وقت آخر على ال content words و functional words في اللغة الإنجليزية ونشوف ياها اللي يتأكد أكثر stressed أكثر. And words which are not regarded as being particularly important often have a different pronunciation because of this. For example, the word can, which is pronounced as can, if it is said by itself, is often pronounced as can in phrases like you can have it, you can have it, you can have it. Thirdly, the rhythm of English must be mastered. Rhythm of English must be mastered. لازم يتقن تحديدا. That is the different lengths which the syllable of English are given and the reasons why these different lengths occur. ممكن تعريف the rhythm. An example of this, for example, the word chair collapsed. The chairman collapsed. The chair collapsed. The chairman collapsed. The word chair has the same length as the word chairman, and therefore each of the two syllables in chairman is shorter than the single syllable of the word chair, so that the chair over chairman is only half as long as the word chair by itself. هذا لازم تنتبه له. Fourthly and last, the tune of the voice, the melody of speech. Melody of speech is different in different languages and is necessary to learn something of the English way of using tune, اللي هو النغمة الصوتية. For example, when we say thank you, the voice may go from a higher note to the lower note. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. From a higher note to a lower note. Or it may go from a lower note to a higher note, higher one, and these two different tunes show two different attitudes. Thank you, which means that I should not thank you. To a lower means sincere gratitude. Lower to a higher means that the matter is purely routine. To confuse the two would clearly be dangerous, and it's necessary to learn the rhythm, the melody, the note, and the tune in English. All of these matters will be dealt with in chapters to follow, and exercises will be given to the reader. راح يتم معالجة هذه في الدروس الأخرى ليتم إعطاك نبذة مختصرة عن آلية التدريب واللفظ الصوتي لهذه الكلمات. نبدأ بالفصل الثاني How the speech organs work in English. هذا راح يكون محور حلقتنا القادمة بإذن الله. نلتقيكم في درس آخر. مدرب لغة وليد خالد.